Oh, well, hello everyone. It's me, the king of blurry thumbnails, Aggie Saturns. How is everyone doing today? I am. No, I'm doing pretty well. No complaints. It has been quite a few days. It's been quite a few weeks, honestly. I feel like it's been quite a month. Maybe a few weeks. Cause I know it was a little bit ago when I came back from Michigan. That was what, the 6th or 7th of June. We're already over halfway through July. What, 9 days out from? I want this deck. 9 days out from. Ooh, the shorts are about to fall. 9 days out from the yellow electric seed year. Oops, new Mayan year, and this year is. I feel like kind of sort of like how the end of Pisces season was to opening up a new astrological year. That's what the end of Blue Lunar Storm is feeling like to open up for Yellow Electric Seed. Like, it's a lot, but it's a lot in a good way. Um, just shout out to Corey from Founders of Light just for being awesome. Um, and Reem and Rob and LB and Russ. Oh, sweet Russ, who is, I don't know, brain deep in rune work and everything else that he does, right? It's been crazy in a good way. I'm starting to dream again. It's interesting because when Neptune went retrograde, I thought I'd have like wilder dreams, but it seemed like I kind of my dreams got really tame, like if I had any. Uh, but last night and the night before, um, they got kind of vivid again. Like, going somewhere, doing something. Last night's dream was so interesting. And in one of my dreams last night, there was this little girl who was teaching a dance, and she accidentally hit like a toddler in the back of the head. It was funny. It was kind of sad, but like the toddler just like fell and then got back up. Right? It didn't cry. Nobody was hurt. I don't know if anybody else noticed. I just thought it was funny. Embrace drive. Okay. But besides that, I feel like life is interesting in a lot of ways. Um, and I'll leave it at that. Okay. I got a little bit of homework that I'm doing, and opportunities are coming. And ooh, girl. Speaking of blessings, also this happened. I don't know how I thought I would feel, but I don't think I'm feeling it. Look at blessings though. Like the pinks and greens, it's so like lower heart, higher heart. And it feels like there's so much balance between them. This card is so light. Hey Corey, look at this. This card is gorgeous. And it's number 44. How are you doing? Bottom of bottom of the deck is prosperity. Blessings and prosperity. 44 and 45. I'll take it. With determination under prosperity. And they're both red. So that is red is the color of the root, right? There's some root. It feels like root and solar plexus. I know his pants are orange. Oh, these? Yeah, you said that. The pinks and greens. Ah, okay. I was like, wait. I had a lesson of learning to receive, and then I'm received again. It's like it's blessings. It's more than I thought. Everything is more than I thought. Everything. I don't know what I thought. Also, like, I don't know. I don't want to get too far into it, but I feel like my mind was just like blown in some ways, in ways that I was already feeling and already knowing, more so suspecting, I guess, when it comes to like soul imprints and stuff like that. As Corey was like, Corey's been like one of my faves lately. There's just so much wisdom and like kindness and strength. And I'm in awe. But I'm going to read these. Prosperity and blessings. This is awesome. Also, I'm noticing this gate. Can you see it back there? What is that? And like, so I painted, so sidetrack. My mom is doing a thing this week. It's like Spirit Week. And yesterday it was all black, which is why these are black. And then today it was silver. And I just walked in her room and I grabbed the fingernail polish and I was like, terrible. It's more difficult than it looks. And it was runny. Um, and then I was like, hey, mom, like, can you paint the other ones for me? So she actually painted my nails and she was like, what am I doing? I was like, I don't know. I thought it would be cute. It isn't. But now I know, 44 and 45. You are divinely protected, is what the blessings card says, which is interesting. There we go. Ganesha asks you to consider what exactly it is that you want at this time. He asserts that your desires are within your reach. The universe is conspiring to help you achieve your aspirations. Since the universe is in harmony with your desires, the how will transpire effortlessly. Hey, Starborn Berg. I feel like that's exactly what you were talking to me about yesterday, Corey. It's fine. Ganesha is bestowing on you blessings of luck, love, and new prospects. Be very clear about your intentions at this time. Once you have identified what you desire, Ganesha will work to clear the obstacles and amp up your blessings. Withstand the temptation to succumb to self indulgence. You are in an excellent affluence phase. This period will not last forever, so be sure to take advantage of it and act when opportunities arise. Resolve will triumph. The principle of averages works in your favor now. The more that you perpetuate something that you want, the more likely you are to receive that very thing, even if it's impossible or if it feels impossible. These manifestation possibilities are endless and range in subject matter from love to money to success to happiness. Ganesha teaches that your blessings are continuous. The realization of the blessing may not be immediately apparent. Trust that happiness and blessings are always being showered on you. What is going on in your life at this moment is external and beyond your control. True happiness and blessings lie within you, in your heart and soul. See, look, that's all that heart stuff. True blessings lie within you in your heart and soul. How are you doing tonight? And look, it's on page 77. You see the? There you go. Page 77, number 44. That's 111. No, or is that 121? How does math work? I think that's 121. Hey Siri, what is 77 plus 44? It's 121. Thought so. 45. Prosperity. You have the ability to manifest prosperity into your daily life. Ganesha asks that you work on integrating and accepting the spiritual truth that you create your own reality. Truly understanding this makes all the difference when it comes to prosperity. You are responsible for creating and generating your success. It is your divine right to do so. A job in itself does not bring you riches. Abundance is more than a job or having money, it is an attitude. It's about living with appreciation and gratitude daily for all the blessings that are bestowed on your life. It is easy to forget or neglect the gifts that you receive day after day from the universe, the divine, the source, the creator. One of your promised gifts is your divine ability to generate the success you want in life by using your spiritual talents. These are abilities that are innate within you. You were born with them. They could include writing, speaking, creative expression, or business ability. Utilize your gifts. You are being given an opportunity to notice and develop them and being offered and begin offering them to the world. Sorry. You might like to start writing a prosperity journal. Call on Ganesha to work with you on this. Imagine what would be the perfect day for you and describe it in great detail in your journal. Involve all of your senses to make it as real as possible. See, hear, feel, smell, taste, and touch this experience in your mind and heart to help bring it to fruition. This is an abundance card. Ganesha is reminding you that you have everything you need now. It is time to claim your abundance. Wait. I know. Oh gosh. I'm going to get the woozies. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I'm feeling the. I was talking to Ariel earlier, and she was saying that today feels a lot better. I agree. I agree. It feels like there's a little bit of a high priestess energy here, though. I keep being drawn to that portal in the back. Or is this a pomegranate? Was that a pomegranate right there? And then there's two laurel wreaths. There's enough laurel to make a crown. You keep getting a message about a portal. I know the 8-8 portal is coming up. It's reminding me of the gate of Sahakiel. Oh, look, there's pineapples and grapes up here. Wait. It feels really big. This portal feels like a mountain. Like it's the size of a mountain. And it feels like it's continuously growing as well. There's almost there's almost something here. If you can see it, it looks like it might be like the face of a mountain or something, but it's feeling like a person. Maybe it's Goddess Aya, because Goddess Aya is like the witness. See, there's something going on in the background on these cards. That's why it feels like High Priestess energy is here. Last 8-8, you dreamt that you met with your guides and they told you you have the key and will know when to use it. Have you needed to use it yet? Maybe this year that time will be coming around. I'm gonna pull the Journeyman edition of the Weaver Tarot because these flower petals are reminding me of the Hanged One. And there's something about July 20th too. Every now and then there'll be a day and a whole bunch of stuff will just like coincide on that day. Like the 13th was the last one. The 20th is the next one. I don't know what's going on the 20th or if there's something special about the 20th. I also like that the determination card is here. You agree 720. You told them that you did not want the responsibility. Yeah, I used to. I could still be like that. If I'm being completely honest. But for what I desire, ouch, I know that growth is needed for what I desire. And oh, justice. Okay. And there are things about me that I have to learn to love and accept and integrate and allow. So I'm so extremely grateful for the people who have come into my experience lately to help keep me accountable and honest and to help me grow and mature and to welcome these parts of me. Um, it's interesting, but it's like coming across others who can learn to love and accept you for who you are makes it easier for me. I found that coming across people who could learn to love and accept me for not only who I am, but well, yeah, for who I am, for all of who I am, for all of the more. Um, it makes it easier for me to do it in myself. So, so appreciative and grateful for that. And for me, it does make certain things easier. Who is it? Ooh, the anchor. Who else? Was that it? The anchor is the emperor in this deck. So in the threads of fate, they've effectively removed gender. Hey, Mimi. What's up? They've removed gender. So the empress is the pillar. The anchor is the emperor. Kings are rulers. Queens are sovereigns. This is interesting. See, because here it is again. There's this energy. So I've been seeing the back of the Emperor like every time I use the vice versa tarot, right? And it's this balancing of forces. And then here we have the Two of Swords, the balancing of forces, right? And it's almost like he's emerging from a portal, like the Seven of Swords in the Mystical Dream Tarot. But there's something about alignment here. This feels like an alignment of stars around him. And again, it's this energy of like something transpiring in the background. And I think the last time I saw the Emperor, he was like coming back. Did I see his face? He came out in some card and he wasn't looking too pleased. He was like, what y'all been doing down there? Like, this is not real Emperor behavior. But it's the anchor. It's not the Emperor. So what makes this one different? The anchor is something that can keep something grounded and stable. This is anchoring. Okay. This is the beetle. Corey sent me and Reem a picture of a beetle. And at first I was like, what is that? Because it looked like a beetle, but I couldn't like see the head of it or whatever. And he's like, it's a beetle. I was like, oh. And I was just talking about the scarab, right? There's a scarab that's rolling something into this space from a different space. It's like it's rolling it from the dark side of the high priestess to the light side. And it feels like whatever it's rolling, it's the first of many things. That's why it's like this blessings and prosperity energy here, with all of the more that is yet to be sort of revealed and unleashed. It's like that scarab beetle is bringing some of what lies beyond in those golden days to come. And this is us being in a space of anchoring and establishing what is to come. This is why we hold the light right now, in balance with the dark within ourselves, right? Because it's the Two of Swords, the balance of opposing forces. And it feels like the more that sort of goes from one space to the other, the more that we can hold, the larger the portal grows. So maybe we're almost in this space of like trying to get it to grow as big as we can before rain comes. I feel like it could like flood in a good way, like a flood of blessings. And it's like the better we can anchor these, the better we can sort of balance these forces. The larger and larger and larger this portal grows, the larger the cloud grows before it releases what's held within it, right? And it's almost like if it's too light, it's going to evaporate all the water, and then nothing will be in the cloud to rain down. The tower just came out. The anchor and the tower. This is interesting because it feels like these vines are choking whatever this crystal is. It's weird because it feels a little leechy, but like it's leeching off of the old to bring in the new, right? There's a U energy in this, like the U tree. How like this is the void core, and it was the tier cycle of runes on on either Miss Remy Healings or Rob's Tarot. I can't remember which channel they did it on. I think they did the tier cycle on Rob's and then the hell cycle on Reem's. And I think it was for tier. Maybe. Or maybe it was the last one, which was the Rainbow Bridge by Frost. Wait. Was Heimdall in that one? Yeah, it was Tiwaz, Heimdall, Bifrost, and it was up arrow, up and down arrow. I don't know. It's the energy of the branches or the roots growing inside. It's the yew tree growing inside of the yew tree. It's how a yew tree regenerates. Okay, I don't know. It's that energy. It's like it has to grow inside to feel whatever is almost missing or vacant there before it can continue growing outside. So at the same time, we're anchoring it into the external, or we're serving as an anchor point for the external. We're also anchoring it within self. Oh, come through. So the sun is here next, which I love. See, in the sun, this is one of those. It does. Okay, I'm glad. This is one of those like meditative mantra thingies, right? And it reminds me of like the better the balance we can maintain, the more intense the sun gets. And it feels like the sun is a tunnel. And what Reem said that, or somebody said that in Reem's mandala reading, where the sun is a portal, because that's what it feels like. It feels like this is the outer sun, and then there's this internal sun. It's just like white hole, black hole thing. Again, it's the space where they meet. The other card that came out is the Eight of Cups. Yeah, it's the Eight of Cups with this illuminated third eye at the top. She did. Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure. And that this reminds me of another thing that Corey said to me yesterday about not holding on to stuff. He was like, if you have a bag of stale chips and you have a pantry full of fresh chips, like, would you keep eating the stale chips? And I was like, well, low key, like, if they're still edible, yeah. But it was something for me to unpack in that. And oh, when they be snitching on you, like, wow. Like the word hoarder came out. He was like, hoarder? Why did hoarder come out? I was like, well, if y'all could see what's behind this camera, you would know why he received hoarder. But it's like there are certain things that we have to be willing to let go of to go into something new. And maybe it's a question of why do we hold on to the things that we hold on to? It takes me back to that blessings card, I think, where it's like, the universe is continuously providing for you. So you don't need to hold on to anything for fear of lack or not getting better. This is a very it's like a feedback cycle or something like that. It's something that like the more you put into it, the larger it grows. And the larger it grows, the more you get out of it. And as you get something out of it, you put back into it. If you stop putting back into it, it's like it's gonna suffocate in a way. It requires this sort of maintenance. That's why the anchor is here. And then the Conqueror of Wands comes out with the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Okay, girl. There we go. And this isn't quite an Ouroboros, but it is Ouroboric, the snake. What is that? You see that? There's a ring in the fire. Let's see. You see that little circle right there? I feel like that's what the snake is trying to get to. There's a wall of fire here. What did Reem say that the fire portals were? They're associated with creativity and stuff like that. Arrows can represent like logical thought, right? It's also a Sagittarian energy. This is Sagittarius, mutable fire. Okay. But there's this energy of like almost needing to put down your weapons. Okay, it is creation. All right. And I feel like this is a shape. Or maybe it's just like one of those fidget spinners. There's an energy of like logical thought can only get you so far. Established thought can only get you so far. What can be studied can only get you so far. There's this is a point where knowing begins to come in. Or working with certain ancestors or energies that have the answers, like channeling. It's either knowing or channeling, which is receiving a knowing. And again, it reminds me of something else that Corey said to me. Like Corey has just been like dropping all of the gems. I'm like, thank you. I mean, like Corey is like Six of Pentacles, and I'm like Six of Pentacles. Thank you. um, it's an energy. It's like when you get to a new level, there are certain things about the old level that you just forget. You forget everything because holding on to old understandings, like everything you knew on this side of the gate, on the side of the gate or the portal that you're exiting, if you carry that information into the other side, it's not going to get you where you think it will. It starts to like wrap around itself. It becomes Ouroboros. It's like, when you were, again, math is just the easiest example for me. It's like, when you were learning subtraction, you were told that you can't subtract bigger numbers from smaller numbers because you weren't yet ready to learn about negative numbers, right? You're still learning the basics. But even knowing about negative numbers and learning about negative numbers is the basics for more advanced math. And that math is the basics and the foundation for even more advanced math. And I feel like we could take the approach where like spirit is sort of like baiting us carrot on the stick, like they're lying to us, like, but it's just like, well, like you aren't where you were before. You're more mature now. You're ready for more advanced topics. The training wheels are off. The things that you couldn't do back then, like you're not necessarily bounded by and limited by the same things now. And there's something about because like even like in this third eye, it's basically on top of a pinnacle, right? So it's a very earth based intuition. And an earth based intuition will get you very, very, very far in like that the realms of physicality and that earth based like logical reasoning sort of thinking, right? But when you go beyond into other spaces, it doesn't necessarily serve and benefit you as much because things are less dense, they're more fluid, right? They don't take as long. And so nurturing something that takes 9 months to come to the point where it's ready to be birthed into the world versus nurturing something that takes like 2 hours, it's probably different. And then the life cycle of the thing is probably different. And so that's why it's like everything that this is the point where everything that you knew, this is the point where like all of your knowing, it hinders you more than it supports you in your journey. Right? You can't look at the teacher and keep saying like, well, I can't take a bigger number from a smaller number. When like, she's telling you that you can. Or when they're telling you that you can. Or when you're learning to. Right? Like there comes a certain point where like the solution doesn't exist isn't an accurate solution. Like it's no longer acceptable, right? At a certain amount of time, it's like, oh, like this is a trick. I can't do this. And it's like, okay, well, that it doesn't apply now. Now you got to learn what to do. And it reminds me of like junior year in college when everything, it was more about teaching you how to think rather than teaching you like equations and formulas and stuff like that. Like before that, a lot of stuff was regurgitation. But it's like, when you're a professional out in the field and when you encounter a problem, you're not going to have every single variable laid out to you like you do on a word problem, right? It's 45 degrees outside. There's a height difference of 20 feet. And, all these variables is given to you. You're told, hey, we got a problem. And you got to go out in the field and measure it. You have to like find all the variables and know how to put them together and know what equations to use. You have to know what you can assume and what you can't assume based on the situation. And that's one of the things that made like junior year the most difficult because it's like it's not about regurgitating equations anymore. It's about learning when what assumptions apply, learning when you can simplify something and when you can't simplify something. But you get like partial credit when you describe your thought process. That's another reason why it's like it's important for like sometimes we have to revisit the basics and work through things step by step so that we don't like carelessly forget something, right? It's a little bit of that energy too. And I feel like that's why we're learning to hold the balance right now. Uno momento. I'm taking notes because I have homework and I meant to put this down before, but I did not. So I'm going to do it now. And it's about sort of like witness consciousness. Um, right. Oh, it's like up here. Okay. All right. So one last card, please. And again, it's like the more of this you hold, the faster it grows, the bigger it gets. And I remember talking to Reem like maybe a week ago. And I remember there was a point in time a few weeks ago where it's like she would see 555 and then I would see 555 and then I'd see like 554 or 556. And I'm like, yes, like I'm outside of all of this like need to surrender. And then after like 2 days of not seeing 555, it's like 555 starts popping up again. And it's been this period of like rapid, successive increases, expansions, shifts, and changes. And it's almost like as soon as you start to get settled, you're off somewhere else again. Something else is changing, something else is shifting. And it's almost like it partially it partially has a momentum of its own that gets even faster as you do what you do. But also again, it's because you're feeding into it. Something is almost very rapidly precipitating, and that's why this phase is so important, to be willing to let go of what you think you know. Because again, as things get less concrete, as things get more abstract and more energetic, it has a different way of operating and functioning. So the two cards that came out, it's the Nine of Coins and the Sovereign of Coins. This one, it's more difficult to put into words. So maybe no problem. Starborn Berg. Maybe there's an energy here of molding, right? And an energy of maintaining and holding. This is that initiate of realms energy again. This is that stronghold of the veil into the shining quarry. Page of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles energy again. This is us like putting our knowledge and our workings of things together in a way to begin to mold and shape and form our experience. It's because it's almost like that's what happens. As you start to learn more, as you grow and expand, you become capable of more. But there is a certain there's a certain stability and consistency that we're not necessarily used to as humans of like maintaining, and like mood and humor and temper of belief, because it's something that needs to be woven, right? First you feed it through the eye of the needle, then you start to stitch it, and you have to maintain the image while you're stitching it throughout its entirety. And it's like if you lose it, it unravels. Now you may get like bits and pieces of it, but this is about a more complete experience. And it goes back into that witness consciousness a little bit because of what has to be preserved and maintained. That's partially what this anchor is teaching us. But I feel like it's something that you don't necessarily, you may not be aware that you're learning it until you come into the position of needing to use it. And again, it's that energy of like they're teaching you how to think, they're teaching you how to maintain a sort of stability, regardless of what happens within the external or regardless of fluctuations in the internal. It's a setting up of conditions in a way. And again, it's like maybe in the moment we don't necessarily know what it's going to be used and like how it's going to benefit us later, but it's very Miyagi, right? That student teacher, like you're doing like all of these repetitive things, and in the moment you may not necessarily see what the benefit is, but it most definitely has one. And it works on addressing the most difficult thing to change first, which is habits and patterns and behaviors. Where it's like, you adapt a new second nature, and then your second nature becomes your first nature. And all of a sudden, you're doing things without even thinking about it. I just want one card, please. Or should I get three? And that's a 2-1-1-2. I'll get three. It's a 3-2-2-3, which is a 1-2-2-1. Oh no, that's Carcer. I got one card. We'll see. We'll see. It's the Six of Cups with the Four of Swords at the bottom of the deck, and the Six of Swords. I'll take these three. And the Four of Wands again. The Four of Wands was at the bottom of the deck when the sun came out, I think. I don't remember. So the Six of Cups, there's this energy here of the truth that lies at the core of who we are. But it's a truth that eludes us as long as we aren't able to love ourselves as a whole. And as long as we aren't able to almost release certain regrets in a way of like wishing and wanting things to have worked out in a different way. Or at least in the space of, hey, Kizzy Cat, at least in the space of like having this mental escape, right? Like, oh, I wish I could go back to this time, or because it takes us out of the now moment. And it doesn't really provide us a path forward either. And it's like when the love for self and the love for others, and then as we slip more and more and more into the fold of universal love, maybe that's why there's three sets, three pairs of roses. There's like six of them. That's when we unlock those last two cups and what has been held in a sort of stasis there. And I think Reem said it in gate 5, maybe. It's the energy of those contingencies. Or maybe it was in the Virgo reading. It might have been the Virgo reading, actually. It is a clock. It's a stopwatch. It's the energy of contingencies. It's like these are the things that we need to fulfill and reach this certain threshold of love in order for this to be released from stasis. Right? And then under that is the Four of Swords. And again, we see the clock. Again, we see the Two of Swords motif that we saw in the Anchor card. That also was represented by the two crossed arrows in the Conqueror of Wands. The other two swords are on the watch face itself. And there's an energy here of an almost disproportionalism, right? It's like the second hand has to make a full rotation before the minute hand moves 1 minute. And the minute hand has to move a full rotation before the hour hand moves 1 hour. And so the second hand has to make 60 full rotations before the hour hand moves 1 hour. And that's that like this differential in sort of time, right? And it's because of it's like lag. The physical lags behind the spiritual, or the spiritual leads the physical, right? Which is again, it's another reason why this anchor is here. Because if we get frustrated and irritated and upset that we're doing all of this spiritually and it's not moving the hand of the physical, and then we quit, it's like, okay, well, if you stop the clock, then you're never going to get there. And then the last card is the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords, it's a card of movement, right? It's the space of what can now grow when we're no longer in these periods of stagnancy. But again, it's like it's a stagnation that requires something to transpire to lessen it. And again, it's this energy. It's like the more we do, the bigger and bigger these sort of like portals, entryways, gateways get in the back. And it's almost like, when the alarm sounds, then you get whatever is proportional to what you put into it in a way. But you will also get like before then. Oh, that's literally why determination is at the bottom of the deck. All of this, all of this, if you can see any of it, all of this. Oh, girl, who is this? The Six of Swords. Okay. Six of Swords, like, no, not you're getting there, but you're not there yet. All of this is where the determination sort of comes in handy, right? From the Eight of Cups basically to the end. This is the space of like prosperity and blessings. And again, it's like the longer you can hold this, the brighter the sun goes. The deeper the portal goes into your limitless realm of abundance and stuff like that, right? Gorgeous. And the Four of Wands is at the bottom of the deck. Like, Four of Wands is like gorgeous energy, right? The Four of Wands, it also marks something. So now I'm gonna get a final message, and then I'm gonna shut this down. What am I gonna do for the rest of the evening? I don't know. I need to start The Witcher. I watched Now You See Me last night. That was pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I just finished watching Kimetsu no Yaiba, and so I got to watch the movie with my brother tomorrow. Kind of hungry. I bought some fruits and vegetables, and the apples are so good. Ariel, hi. What's hey? Hello. Just one card for the road, please. One card for the road, please. There's a song in my head, and I don't know what it is. Ow! Oh! I'm wearing the reading glasses that only have one lens. I was like, whoa. Excuse me? The Sovereign of Cups. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Swords. Mm, 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 mm. Woo, and the world is behind the Ace of Swords, and the title card is behind this. This is the dark side of the High Priestess for me. Like in one card, right? It's the STFU, you've gone too far. Even if I told you now, you wouldn't get it anyway. Actually, if I told you now, you'd probably F it up. So just release and live and find out. Corey's back! The Ace of Swords. So the card that came out is the Sovereign of Cups, which is Queen of Cups energy. And it's interesting because one of my friends sent me a video. So, like, if it's a goose or a seagull, she'll send it to me. Sometimes squirrels. But she sent me a video of a goose. And there was a tiger and a white tiger that were like going to get the goose, and the goose was like flapping and honking, and it chased off the tigers. I was like, wow, that's not how I expected that interaction to go. And I immediately thought of the Queen of Cups or the Mother of Cups in the Wild Unknown Tarot and the High Priestess. The Mother of Cups, Queen of Cups is a pre-high priestess energy. And it's like the pre-high priestess is chasing off the high priestess. And it's so funny because I was like, what does this even mean? And then it comes up through the Sovereign of Cups energy. It speaks to the level of autonomy that we're coming into. And it almost speaks to the level of autonomy that we're being asked to come into, where we can make choices and decisions for ourselves, right? We don't always have to run to mommy and daddy and ask them what we should do. Because there's going to come a point in time where they ask us, like, well, what is it that you want to do? What do you think you should do? Yeah, it is. And it can be a lot sometimes. Like having to make your own decisions sometimes. I'm like, okay, well, like, see, but the thing is that, like, the oyster is open, the clam, right? It's like you've completed your process. And like this is that 8 of Cups energy. Because it's like you're being given the opportunity to release the pearl rather than someone coming along and cracking you open and taking it. You know what I mean? And it's this is us ascending our thrones, becoming sovereigns in our own right in our own lives. And it's not that you necessarily defy spirit, and it's not that spirit isn't there to work with you and to help you and to assist you at all. Like that's not true. But it's like, well, like what do you want to do? Where do you want your life to go? Isn't that what this card said? Right? Didn't it say like what do you want out of your life? Let me see. Let me read. Where the book go? Oh, it's right here. So here it is. He asserts that your desires are within your reach. The universe is conspiring to help you achieve your aspirations. Since the universe is in harmony with your desires, the how will transpire effortlessly. Ganesha is bestowing on you blessings of luck, love, and new prospects. Be very clear about your intentions at this time. Once you have identified what you desire, Ganesha will work to clear the obstacles and amp up your blessings. Or was it in the prosperity card? See, oh my gosh, I already put the cards away. Ganesha asks that you work on integrating and accepting the spiritual truth that you create your own reality. That's all that Page of Pentacles, like learning how everything comes together to really do it. It's the initiate of realms. Realms is the physical earth. Yeah, it's very much so that. You are responsible for creating and generating your success. It is your divine right to do so. The bottom of the deck with the Ace of Swords in the world. Oh, see, I said that like in this prosperity card, he's holding two halves of a laurel crown almost. And then in this Ace of Swords, like they're woven together into a single crown. And it's around that crescent moon. That's a wet moon. We see the crown. I didn't even notice that. The crown is above the sword and above the cup. Oh, look, that's the same thing that was on the. It's very similar to what was on the 9 of Pentacles, right? that star thingy, and it feels like you are being like the crown is being put on your head, right? You're being knighted with the sword, and then the crown is being put on your head. Deemed the sovereign of your own experience. And then now we have this whole Mandorla. It does. So I guess this could be like an eclipse energy because it does almost look like the sun. And I feel like that's a little bit of feminine and masculine, the spiritual and physical, the intuitive and the logical occupying the same space in the sky, and the magic that happens in that. That's also the thing that the emperor was in, remember? And with this world card, now they've grown, right? This is where that balance that we learn. No, I'm over Jira. I'm just playing. It is. This is the balance. See the Ouroboros in here? The Ouroboros in this deck in particular, especially when it's in front of a wand, to me, it speaks of like self control. It speaks of us managing our own ego so that we're not consumed by our desires and we don't give into self indulgence, like the blessings card said. Because we also, like, as we are going out and as we are creating in a shared space, we need to know the rules of like sharing a space. And this is like, we're free to create whatever it is that we wish to create, but we can't infringe upon sort of like the rights and realities and realms of others. And there are also certain things that need to be taken into account when we create. I also love that like this is an ascended third eye, right? The last third eye that we saw in the Eight of Pentacles, it was on, or in the Eight of Cups, it was on top of what this deck uses to symbolize Earth. But this one is free in the astrals. It's free in the astrals, but again, it's like it's not without certain limits. It reminds me of Now You See Me. I watched it last night for the first time. And like all of the money that they took in that, they didn't keep any of it for themselves. And like in that movie, like the initiation process was the test. It was a test of their abilities. It was a test of their personal abilities. It was a test of their ability to work with others. It was a test of their joint sort of like group abilities, and it was all a test of their ethics and morals. Because they could have taken the money that they set up all these tricks, right, to sort of get. And there's this energy in the Sovereign of Cups. It's like you're passing with flying colors, even if you may not necessarily realize it in points. It's intended to be difficult. And you may actually be scoring a lot better than you would think, depending on what it is for you to learn. And we all learn different things, right? We all need different things. And, sometimes we have some overlap. Sometimes we learn things similar to other people, but our journeys are different enough that it may not be like exactly the same. You know what I mean? And I think it's also to have a strong, healthy sense of discernment about yourself too. So gotta love initiations. Do we? No, I'm just beginnings. It's funny because like in this beginnings card, I see the parting curtains, and it's like it's showtime. Is that? Oh no. Protection. Beginnings and protection, 1 in 20. with determination being 21. It's almost like it's a time of it's almost like it's a time of I want to say sacred initiations now, but that's not what I wanted to say. Yes, it is. It's a time of sacred initiations, and you're protected in this, right? And that was the whole thing about the movie. It's like this organization was built to balance the scales of justice, right? And they hold true magic, but they also protect the practitioners of that true magic, as long as they operate within certain less self-indulgent parameters. You're inherently protected unless you do something to violate whatever. I didn't go anywhere, Corey. What are you talking about? I've literally been sitting in this exact same spot for 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 18 seconds. Okay, let's get a final wisdom of Lord Ganesha card. I didn't necessarily expect this, but I guess I shouldn't have not. I didn't have an expectation, okay? But it seems like things are getting quicker and quicker and bigger and more and more. And like the more we come into, the more there is, and the larger things get. And then eventually you hit a point where you're like, what? What is happening? Where am I? I do not know anymore. Wait. Oh, Corey, you're one of my favorite people. Oh, wow. Girl, make me cry. Yes. So first 41 came out. Oh my gosh. Whew. There was a whole light show with this. Were you? Well, I am glad to make your hopes come true. Belonging, number 41. Belonging came out, and behind it is number 18, openness. Openness and belonging. That's crazy. And then the card under that is beginnings. Openness, belonging, and beginnings. What's interesting is so in the belonging card, he's riding a mouse, right? Elephants are traditionally afraid of mice, are stereotypically afraid of mice. So I feel like this it speaks to all of the anxieties and worries that we have around gathering and being with others. And if I'm being like real honest, like when you're dealing with other people, you have to face yourself. Even outside of spiritual sort of situations. That's like any like if you have a relationship, be it professional or personal, like you have to work through sort of like working with other people. There are things within yourself that you're going to have to manage. There are things within other people that they manage within themselves, and it's for us to have compassion and grace with them as they do for us, right? But it feels like, and it also feels like almost going back to gate 3 with Goddess Ningal. It feels like when we moved from a more intuitive, more and animism, moving from animism, where like everything holds a spirit, where we're more connected to spirit and we see spirit embodied in everything, and we move to more like almost tribal, logical, like us versus them. There's something about gathering. It's like we've almost been conditioned in so many ways for gatherings to just sort of like fall apart, or to have so many resistance, or to encounter so much resistance when we try to like gather, right? You know, outside of our own egos. Learning to love all is a tango on its own, dancing with ourselves. Exactly. I feel like this speaks to the fears and difficulties in doing that, but it's not that it can't be overcome. And then, like on this one, Lord Ganesha is like sitting on the moon in openness, which is a very, like, this feels like a very, very high priestess energy. And he's on the moon, so, you know, it's not that so crazy. And there was a tie in here with beginnings. I've never noticed before the symbols, the sacred symbols on this scroll that like Lord Ganesha is sort of offering us. And it's almost this energy of like, as it is written, so you shall be. Like if you go into your library of the Akash, your own Akashic records, your own Akashic library, there are many sacred and holy things that you are. And it's almost like channeling, like the information goes into his palm and it circulates within him, and then he projects it out to you. And it's initiatory, right? It's the beginning. Eventually you sort of learn to take these on for yourself, and you come into more aspects. And check out Corey at Founders of Light if you want to know all about that. And it's almost like, you know, you don't even have to know how to read it right now, but this openness is required, right? The openness comes before the beginning. I was like, belonging, what? Openness, what? Aww. Beginnings, what? And it's the beginnings of new communities. And I remember when LB, um, one day LB was like, you know, the way that we're doing things now is a lot like, this is what's sort of shifting the paradigm and changing the game, because we are coming into communities, and because we are sort of like using our gifts together in a broader sense, on a larger scale, rather than like this very small group of people in this corner of the world operating in whatever, right? Because in openness and in belonging, there's this energy that it like inherently involves others, other systems of thinking, other magics, other ways of belief, that reformulate the Tower of Babel. It's the easiest way to say it, right? Because like the information and the knowledge wasn't taken from the engineers and the construction workers and the people who like went into building the Tower of Babel. They kept that information, but it was their tongues that were cursed. And they weren't able to work through like, hey, we speak a different language now. And it's like, if it's almost a little mind-boggling, I guess. Like if you take a non like if you take a human approach, it's like, yeah, you know, you look at somebody who doesn't look at you, and then, or who doesn't look like you, and it becomes this whole thing, because that's basically what history has been. But it's like, if there were a group of people who were brilliant enough to literally build and construct a tower that could reach the heavens, and like all you had to do to make sure that they wouldn't do that again was to introduce different language. And it's not even that they couldn't understand each other, it's that they started fighting each other and they started killing each other. And it's like, wait, But that's where these pools of like different schools and different lines of thinking, and like when we build when we bring it back together, we're capable of doing even more, which is again, it's another reason why community is so torn down on an inherent level in so many ways, especially a community that involves differences. But my favorite part of all of these, okay, not my favorite part, but what lies beyond the beginning, there's one more card on the table. The card that lies beyond the beginning is the blank one. The curtains are opening, it's showtime. And there is almost an energy of transcription here, right? Because again, it's like he's taking these words into one palm and then projecting them onto you. In one way, it's like we fill this out. We write this card based on, what we receive here. But there's also a binding of the contributions from those around us, because no one person has all the pieces. We collectively have everything we need. There's competition and weird stuff that keeps us from, doing it. But I was like, what? Oh, it's at the bottom of the deck. Blessings. I love that. Bring it all the way around. What's behind blessings? Capacity to love. Fulfillment. Fulfillment, capacity to love, and blessings. So that's what I got. I hope y'all have a good whatever. Whenever you see this, I hope you're acting in alignment to all that you wish to experience your reality. It's some pretty interesting times, and they're trying in many, many, many ways, and they're rewarding in many, many, many ways, and there are many a thing happening. And sometimes nary the time. I don't think I said that right, to do it all in. But that's gorgeous. So thank you all for being here. This was informative question mark. It was something. No problem. And oh, what do I say now? Wherever your journey takes you, I hope you find whatever you need along the way to get there. And there are some things that aren't necessarily going to be easy, but they're going to be well worth it. And community, even though honestly, like I, especially now, like the community I found is, it's nice. The one I had before was not it, but it's not about that. Well, it's a journey. Anyway, it doesn't come without challenge. For me, it's a lot of self stuff that I thought I heard music. Okay. Anyway, it's a lot of self stuff and like facing my own shadow and my own insecurities, and some insecurities that honestly, like, I don't even have. Like, they're not even mine. That's the thing about like intrusive thoughts. It's like, whoa, like I don't even like think this. Like, I'm not even insecure about this. Hello, what is this? But it has to be faced nonetheless. Anyway, it's worth it. It's worth it. So, I love you all, and I'm not gonna go. Oh, I can't believe I just said that. I love you guys. I'll catch you when I catch you.